Okay, so if you're a solo agency owner or a B2B pro, you know the biggest challenge isn't even doing the work. It's that constant hunt for a steady stream of amazing clients, the ones who really value what you do. So in the next few minutes, we're going to break down a modern playbook to turn all that guesswork into actual predictable growth.
Does this sound familiar? One month, you're totally swamped, can't even see straight. The next, you're looking at a blank calendar, kind of panicking about where the next project is coming from. You know that whole feast or famine cycle? It's super stressful, and it makes it impossible to plan for growth. It is time to get off that roller coaster for good.
But what if the answer isn't just trying harder, sending more emails, making more calls? The real solution here is about working smarter. It's about building a repeatable, data-driven, client-finding machine that brings the best leads right to your doorstep.
So where do we start? Well, the foundation of that whole machine, the very first, most important step, is getting crystal clear. Before you can even think about finding your ideal clients, you have to define exactly who they are.
And that's where the ideal customer profile, or ICP, comes in. I want you to think of this like your treasure map. Seriously, it's not about finding just any customer. It's about precisely identifying the right companies. You know, the ones that have the exact problems you can solve, have a budget to actually invest, and have the potential to become great long-term partners.
So how do you actually build one? Well, you start with what we call firmographics, which is really just a fancy word for the hard data about a company. As you can see, it's all about getting specific. Are we talking about SaaS companies with 50 to 200 employees? Or maybe e-commerce stores in North America that are already using Shopify? Getting this granular is absolutely the key.
Now, here's something that trips a lot of people up. The difference between an ICP and a buyer persona. Look, it's actually super simple. The ICP helps you find the right company. The buyer persona helps you understand the right person inside that company. And you absolutely 100% need both.
Okay, so we've got our ICP defined. We know who we're looking for. Now comes the really fun part. How do we actually go out and find them? Let's dive into 3 powerful, repeatable recipes for doing just that.
For these recipes, our main tool is a platform called Apollo.io. So why this one? I mean, just look at that number. That's over 275 million contacts. This gives a single person, just you, the kind of power that used to belong to huge sales teams. This is how you punch way above your weight, using data to find buyers who are already telling you they need help.
All right, recipe number 1. This one's a classic, and for a really good reason. We're going to follow the money. We're targeting companies that have just raised a bunch of capital. Why? Because this is one of the loudest, clearest signals you can possibly find that a company has a fresh budget and is ready to grow fast. And the cool part is, inside a tool like Apollo, you can literally build this list in minutes. You just set your filters to find companies that raised, say, a Series A, B, or C in the last year. Then you layer on your ICP criteria, company size, industry, and then bam, you pinpoint the exact decision makers, like a VP of marketing or the CEO. It's like a searchlight for opportunity.
Yeah, that quote on the slide just nails it, doesn't it? You're not sitting around guessing if they have a budget. That funding announcement is basically a public declaration that they are ready to invest in growth. So you're not just sending another cold email, you're reaching out to the exact people who have been given that new capital and told to spend it.
Okay, let's talk about recipe number 2. This one is my personal favorite because it's all about relevance. Instead of looking for funding, we're going to look for technology. The whole idea is to find companies based on the software they already use and pay for, which makes your outreach incredibly specific and powerful.
So just think about it for a second. If you're a HubSpot wizard, you can instantly pull a list of every single company that uses HubSpot. Salesforce consultant? Same deal. You just filter for the tech, layer on your ideal company size, and find the exact person whose job it is to manage that specific tool. And this is the magic, right? You're taking all the guesswork out of it. You know for a fact they are a qualified lead because they're already paying for and invested in the very ecosystem you serve. And just like that, your message isn't some cold pitch out of the blue. It's a super relevant solution to a problem they are probably thinking about right now.
And that brings us to our third and final recipe. We're talking about the low-hanging fruit here, the most urgent signal you can possibly find, active hiring. This is all about finding companies with a clear, immediate pain point that you are perfectly positioned to solve. So, the process here is super straightforward. You can filter for companies with open job postings for roles like copywriter or UX designer. By focusing on jobs posted in just the last 30 days, you find the most urgent needs. And that gives you the perfect opening to reach out and offer your services as a contractor to fill that gap while they keep searching.
So, what's the big takeaway? A job posting is basically a giant, flashing neon sign that says, "We have a problem right now." It means they have a budget that's already approved and a pain point that needs to be solved immediately. It is genuinely one of the warmest leads you can possibly find.
Okay, so finding leads with these recipes, it's awesome. It works. But, and this is a big but, doing it all by hand? Ugh, that's a grind. The real game changer, the next level, is to turn all this data into an automated, scalable system that does the heavy lifting for you.
Because finding the leads is really just step one. True efficiency, the kind that lets you actually scale, comes from building an engine where all this data flows seamlessly into your workflow. Just imagine never having to manually copy and paste another contact or company detail ever again.
And this is what that looks like when it's all hooked up. By integrating a tool like Apollo with a CRM like Salesforce, the entire process becomes automatic. You find a perfect lead using one of your recipes, and boom, it's instantly created in your CRM. Every email you send, every call you make, it's all logged without you even lifting a finger.
So what does this get you? Well, for starters, you can say goodbye to that soul-crushing data entry. Your pipeline is always accurate and up to date. You have one single place to see every single interaction with every prospect. This is how you stop just being busy and start being truly productive.
All right, let's pull this all together. What we've just laid out isn't just a collection of tips. It's a full-on, modern playbook for finding high-value clients, not through luck or guesswork, but with a predictable, efficient system.
It really boils down to these 3 core pillars. First, you've got your strategy, which is all built on that crystal-clear ideal customer profile. Second, you have smart tactics, using these data-driven recipes to find leads who are waving their hands in the air. And third, you have automation, to tie it all together into a system that actually works for you, not the other way around.
So at the end of the day, this whole playbook is about a huge mental shift. It's not about chasing clients anymore. It's about detecting signals. The companies you dream of working with are constantly sending out signs that they're ready to buy. They're out there. The real question is, are you listening?